Hi everybody, hope you're doing marvelously well. This is an exciting one for us because not only are we going to talk to the Leapwing plugin designers, we're also going to talk to the rather legendary Mr. Grammy himself, Al Schmitt. So Al Schmitt and Leapwing have got together and created the, wait for it, the Al Schmitt Signature Plugin. So what is interesting about this is they have designed it to be one plugin that you can use in every instance. Meaning you can have it on drums, you can have it on bass, you can have it on guitars, you can have vocals, keyboards, background vocals, you name it. Each time it is going to have fundamental changes in frequency balances and compression, all kinds of fun stuff. Because it's a collection of different settings each time of different pieces of hardware, you'll be able to mix the song, presumably with one instance in all of these different roles. So it's quite a fun idea. You've heard me talk many, many times about the need for moving on from stereotypes. And don't get me wrong. If you look around here, you'll see an SSL console. You'll see Pultecs and Neves and APIs, and of course, all my BAE stuff and Neumann microphones. We have gorgeous vintage equipment. And as you've heard me say many, many times, I also wonder with somebody starting off at 13 or 14 years old, making their first music at home, do they really need to know or even understand classic pieces of gear? Shouldn't we be talking a little bit bigger than that? Shouldn't we be talking about the sounds that they impart as opposed to stereotyping fixed ideas of equipment? So this plugin is a very interesting idea because it is not about, it may be using sounds associated with pieces of equipment, but in combinations that go beyond just name-checking famous pieces of gear. So without further ado, let's talk to Emiliano, Robin, and of course, the rather wonderful Al Schmitt. And then stick around because Robin is going to take us through a breakdown and look at the plugin in greater detail. So watch the whole video and leave a bunch of comments and questions below and let me know what you think. What was the thought process behind deciding to make a plugin like this?
The goal with this plugin, it's of course represents Al's extensive career during all these years of everything he has learned along the way, trying to instill and condense that knowledge and essence and his way of seeing and hearing and understanding music into something everyone at home can use. From a seasoned engineer like yourself to a student of music production in the first, second year of learning, everyone can understand, use the advantage of that decades of experience recording and mixing from Al, and trying to just, in a very short time and with the minimal amount of controls that we have been known for, to try to make the best records that they can. And as Al said, like if the records sound better, their careers will be better. So if that's all we can help with, that's our job is done here.
You know, I've been using a thing that I finish all my mixes with, and I've been doing it for years. And somebody said to me, you know, you ought to do a plugin of this, and it might help other guys, help their mixes be better. So I thought, well, maybe that's a good idea. And I thought about it for a while. Emmy was a good friend of mine. He and I chatted about it, and he said he had an idea, and it just kind of snowballed to where it is now, and it's even expanded the plugin even more than I had imagined at this point. So yeah, it's really cool, and I'm excited. And a few people that have heard it and worked with it really like it. So, and these are people I respect.
When I got to play with it, I thought Al Schmitt's probably the only person that could do this. Because
oh my.
Well, because your whole methodology is kind of the less is more. You know, if you don't mind me surmising, it's put the microphone in the right place, get the balance. You're very much about riding faders, applying minimal amounts of EQ, and understanding the relationship between instruments. And this plugin is sort of that thing. It's like, how can you improve it? It's not about going in there and like, running dynamic EQs and boosting this frequency and cutting that. It's just about how can you enhance what's the original signal the best possible way.
It's beyond my wild imagination, and my imagination is pretty wild. But I'm listen. I'm thrilled. Emmy came up with the idea, and he just started working on it. Let me see what I could do, and it just kept getting better and better and better.
Emiliano, give us a little bit of the thought process, seeing as Al's throwing you under the bus as sort of
Here's how it started. Basically, just casual conversations with Al about how he does his thing, and so then what. Actually, even before thinking about the plugin, he always invited me to his mixing sessions or recordings at Capitol every now and then, just to hang out, and it's always great for me to learn and just watch him work. So for me, it was already that like a win-win. It's like, man, I get to hang out with Al, who I consider like a great friend for me, and as well I get to learn from him. So that was always great. And we started to talk and talk about concept and his way of finalizing mixes and his thought process and workflow. Yeah, we mentioned what if we do a plugin of yours. So then with the rest of the Leapwing team, we started brainstorming and ideas and workflows and how to execute it. And it took it took a while to get to where we are right now in terms of it feels good. More importantly, it sounds great, and it represents to what we think it's Al's view on music, if that makes sense. So
yeah, it does. Yep.
Yeah, it started very casual, but then we said, okay, let's set out to do something that you will be proud, and that we will be honored to basically be the facilitator of this signature plugin. And again, it was a lot of work from everyone at the team at Leapwing, and of course thanks to all the team members that put all their time and effort and sweat. And yeah, here we are, and hope it helps to everyone out there to make their mixes either better in a easier way, and it just helps everyone. That's a goal,
Yeah, I like the simplicity of the design. I'm a big fan, as you know, of modern plugins being modern, being straightforward and simple to use. Because as much as I, like all of us here, love classic gear, which I do, we all love. I mean, I'm sitting in front of an SSL with Pultex everywhere, and I do love all that stuff. I also think it's very important that if you're a kid up and coming, and obviously it's really important for us to bring people into the industry, they don't necessarily need to know about a $40,000 compressor. And I think it's making something clear and easy to use that's functional is super important. So I'm guessing, I'll go to Robin on this. I'm guessing, Robin, that when it says body on a vocal, when it says these are all frequencies that you discuss with Al, and your everything is boosting at specific areas, so that this jigsaw puzzle of a mix, I suppose, one way of looking at it could work. Are you envisioning this plugin to essentially be on every instrument?
Well, I think it can be applicable to a lot of things. We obviously looked at what Al is using, all the gear he's using, and for what purpose. I think it was more important for us to understand his view and the way he perceives something and then reacts to something. And obviously, I think as everything, like all the gear, a lot of times something that works well, that sounds good on a vocal, might also sound good on another instrument. So I don't think there are limitations to how you can use it. Every profile is indeed optimized for each instrument. All the EQs are slightly different between them. All the compressors react differently based on the profile. So they are tweaked, but of course, I think everybody should use it however they want. I think that there are a lot of possibilities. And what I personally like about it is it almost instantly sounds great. It's very hard to make it sound bad, which, yeah, that was one of our goals as well, that it's nice to make it sound good.
Al, I mean, I'm assuming you. I mean, you're probably not back in the studio very often at the moment. Are you? Do you have a mix set up at home? Are you able to do some stuff at home, or is it just, get back into Capitol?
I actually mixed a couple of albums at the Village, Melody Gardot and her new album, and Diana Krall. Then just before that, I mixed Willie Nelson at Capitol, and now I'm going back to Capitol at the end of the month to mix a live album for Melody Gardot. So it's going to
Beautiful.
be a package thing that they're doing. So that's it. I mean, I think hopefully Capitol will be open at that particular time, and we'll go there and do it. If not, we'll go somewhere else. Everything I do is organic, and so I was hopefully that this plugin will be as organic as possible. And I figured, hey, if I can do it, and we can get a plugin to help someone else make their record sound better, why not? I mean, that's what we're here for. I mean, when you heard the way I started, what records sounded like back then, there was quite a difference. So yeah, to have this plugin, I think is great for young people who are starting and can use certain compressors and certain equalizers or whatever, and without having to go to a major expense of buying that piece of gear. This way they get a chance to use it, and hopefully it works for them. And hopefully they'll make their records sound better. And hopefully if their records sound better, their career will be better. So
there you go.
We're trying.
First, I think understand, as I mentioned, like the workflow and what Al uses it for. And then we set out to not just emulate a box and say like, this is the box, but more like, what about this box is it that Al likes? So for example, with the Fairchild or the Pultec, there's a specific color that it adds, like the combination between the transformers and the tubes. So we wanted to understand that relationship and how they all influence each other. So we really spend a lot of time mimicking that harmonic behavior, that dynamic behavior of the harmonics, because that we felt is a very important part of the sound. Like Al, I remember he said in one of the videos, like the moment he puts in, his units on the vocal chain, it immediately adds something. It's more than just compression. So for us, it was very important to capture that and to understand that.
So this is the UI when you open it up. The first thing you'll see is the sources section, which allows you to select from a drop down different instruments. So we call these profiles, and each profile is tuned differently. So according to each profile, there's different tuning. So for example, harmonic distortion, like the bass, for example, has more harmonic distortion. The vocal also has quite nice harmonic distortion. The mix buzz has less. So every profile has its own character, its own tone that represents what Al wants to hear. And then you have additional controls once you select those profiles. So for example, for vocal, these are the parameters that you see. And just to add to that, when you see compression on vocal, this will be a control. And then when you go to bass, you have the same control, but it will sound different. So that's very important to keep in mind, is that each profile will sound slightly different. And then let's take a look at vocal. So you'll see we have a body level, which is kind of a low frequency body boost or cut for the vocal. We have air level, so you can boost some of the air, and you can select if it's at 5, 8, or 16 kilohertz, if it's centered around that area. Then you have an echo level, so reverb. And then we have 3 different tuned reverbs that again represents what Al loves using. So this is a different combination of reflections and reverbs, and a lot went into this. And yeah, they sound great. At least I hope you agree. Then for compression, same, you have this compression control. And you'll see once I start playing audio, you'll see these rings around the microphone, around the instrument. So they represent the loudness of the instrument. So you'll see in real time, you'll see it react to the music. And then the outer rings, you'll see that if there is gain reduction, you'll see the outer rings kind of come in. So the blue rings will come in, and that's the gain reduction. So it's 0.5 dB per ring. So if you end up seeing if you end up seeing 5 rings, that means you're reducing the signal by 2.5 dB. You'll also see a little yellow dot next to compression here that also shows the gain reduction. So let's take a listen.
Like a lonely tear, this is my hell, my personal hell, my personal hell, my personal hell, my personal hell, like a lonely tear.
There we go. So let's take another look at another profile. So let's go to another track and then I'll show you the mix bus. So this is the mix bus, which comes with a sub boost. So there's a low frequency boost. We have an air boost as well. So it's kind of a smiley curve. That's something that Al loves putting on the mix bus. And then we have a 3-band compressor. So this is a multi-band 3-band compressor, just to tame some of the transients of the loud parts. And you have the bottom part, which says comp, so low comp, mid comp, and high comp, and those control the threshold and the ratio, so the amount of compression you're adding or you're compressing. And then you have also low level, mid level, and high level, and they are kind of like your makeup gain. So if you're compressing the low and the lot, you might want to compensate for that, so you can kind of tonalize the mix bus that way. So let's take a quick look. So it adds this kind of nice, it opens up the top end very nicely. So let's take another look at bass. So we have bass instrument as well. Bass comes with compression, body level, and air level. So bass actually comes with quite a lot of harmonic distortion, which is really cool because it kind of really, kind of glues the sound and kind of makes it like one, but kind of makes it thick as well. So that's bass, and then let's take a look at piano too. So where are we? Piano. There we go. So let's go to this section. Let's listen without.